Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you my player ratings from our 3-1 defeat to Leicester in the FA Cup quarter final. Dean Henderson, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Had very little to do in the game, apart from taking the ball out of his net 3 times. Henderson did make a good save to deny Jamie Vardy in the first half. And Henderson has now started 6 games in a row. So 6 out of 10 for him. Wan-Bissaka, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Did okay defensively at times, but he lacked that attacking intent. And Wan-Bissaka, he's had some good games this season where he's got into good positions, he's got forward well and he's put some good crosses into the box. But when it comes to his attacking, I do have strong reservations about him. So 6 out of 10 for him. Victor Lindelof, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Average performance. Harry Maguire, I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. Harry Maguire was lucky not to be sent off in the game. And could you say he was accountable for Leicester's first goal, as well as Fred? Disappointing performance by Maguire because he's done well in recent games prior to this one today. We certainly overpaid for Harry Maguire. We got him in a deal worth £80 million. He's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment and the second most expensive signing at the club. Just a 5 out of 10 for him. Alex Telles, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I thought he looked quite good on the ball, Telles. Defensively did quite well. Think he had a good chance as well in the game. Telles has played nowhere near as much as I expected. When we got Alex Telles, I expected him to be our first choice left back. But don't forget at one point he did have COVID. So yeah, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Fred, he's going to get a 3 out of 10. Fred was accountable for the first goal. Give it straight to Iheanacho. He gave the ball away several times in the game. Probably one of his worst performances in a Manchester United shirt. So just a 3 out of 10 for him. Matic, I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10. I thought he was also very, very poor. Got caught out quite a few times. I've always had my strong reservations about Matic anyway, because he's always been a slow player. He's only had a few good games as a Man United player. In the vast majority of his games, he's been inconsistent. Paul Pogba, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Yeah, he was quiet for the vast majority of the game. But the reason I'm giving him a 7 out of 10 because he played a part in Mason Greenwood's equaliser. But his performance today was nowhere near as good as his performance against Milan in the second leg, because obviously he came on against Milan and he scored the goal. I knew Paul Pogba was going to start today. Donny van der Beek, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. It was a lovely dummy from Donny van der Beek leading up to Mason Greenwood's equaliser. But prior to that, pretty quiet in the game. To be honest with you, I was surprised that Donny van der Beek starting because I didn't think he would have started today. But Donny van der Beek's just come back from injury not so long ago. So 6 out of 10 for him. Mason Greenwood, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Mason Greenwood scored a very, very good goal and he looks very, very lively. Probably was one of our best players. And I have been very, very impressed with Mason Greenwood since he broke into our first team squad. It's Mason Greenwood's first goal in a while. And Anthony Martial, I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. Martial was totally isolated in the game. I think he did actually have a chance in the game. That was about it. We brought substitutions on in the game. I think we brought 5 on in total, but Ollie made 4 substitutions in one go. We obviously saw Bruno Fernandes come on. I'll give Bruno Fernandes a 7 out of 10. I thought he actually made an impact when he came on. Had the good chance from the free kick. Produced a good save from Schmeichel. A lot of United fans will actually say we should have started Bruno Fernandes. 7 out of 10 for him. We also brought Luke Shaw on. A lot of United fans will say we should have started him. So I'm saying the same thing as what I've just said regarding Bruno Fernandes. Because Bruno Fernandes and Luke Shaw have been our 2 best players this season by far. But yeah, I'll give Luke Shaw a 6 out of 10. We also brought Scott McTominay on. I'll give him a 5 out of 10. McTominay was definitely the culprit for Leicester's 3rd goal. I think he was the one that gave the free kick away and he actually should have dealt with Leicester's 3rd goal. We brought Edison Cavani on. I'll give him a 6 out of 10. And we brought Amad Diallo Traore on. I'll give him a 6 out of 10. So that is your player ratings from our 3-1 loss to Leicester. But yeah, it was a very poor performance by Manchester United. And I thought it was a very good team performance by Leicester. Leicester, they kept the ball well. They got into very good positions. They pressed well. Defensively, they were superb. Iheanacho, he got man of the match for Leicester. He was sensational, he got a brace and he also got an assist. Youri Tielemans, he also enjoyed a very, very good game for Leicester. He scored Leicester's 2nd goal. It was lovely. Play between Iheanacho and Tielemans. Jamie Vardy. I thought he was quiet in the first half for Leicester, but I thought he was much better in the second half. Vardy had 2 good chances in the game. He had that one in the first half that produced a good save from Dean Henderson. He had that fantastic chance in the second half when he was 1-on-1 with Dean Henderson and Jamie Vardy put it wide. Perez, I thought he was quiet in the first half. Same thing as what I've just said regarding Vardy, but I thought he was much better in the second half. I think Perez had a couple of chances in the game. Johnny Evans, he was superb for Leicester defensively. For Fana, he had a very, very good game. Wilfred Ndidi, he also had a good game for Leicester. First time Leicester have beaten us since September 2014. And they've reached the FA Cup semi-final for the first time since 1982. And don't forget, Leicester had injuries today. There was no James Maddison, he's out with injury. There was no Under, he's out with injury. There was no James Justin, he's out with injury. Wes Morgan's out with injury. Ricardo Pereira's out with injury. Harvey Barnes is out with injury, and Harvey Barnes is definitely one of their key players. So if Leicester would have had, them players fit, they could have won by more. But you've got to admire Brendan Rodgers. He's doing a very, very good job at Leicester. He's been Leicester manager now for 2 years. He's got a contract with Leicester until 2025. Leicester haven't only been consistent under Brendan Rodgers, they was also very consistent under Claudio Ranieri, because they won the Premier League under Claudio Ranieri. And don't forget, Leicester have lost good players in recent years. They lost Harry Maguire to us in the summer of 2019. They also lost Ben Chilwell to Chelsea last year. They lost N'Golo Kante. They lost Danny Drinkwater. And they also lost Riyad Mahrez. But they've got replacements for them now. Leicester's recruitment has been very, very good under Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers has made quite a few signings. He brought Timothy Castagne in, brought Fofana in, brought Under in, brought Dennis Pryor in, brought Youri Tielemans in, brought James Justin in, and brought Perez in. But I was surprised, because I expected Man United to win this game, or at least put a performance out. We was in good form recently, prior to this game against Leicester. We was coming into this game on the back of a 1-0 win against AC Milan in the Europa League round of 16 second leg. And it was a very good away performance by Manchester United. Weren't so good in the first leg against Milan. We won our last league game against West Ham, beating them 1-0. Weren't the best of games, but still got the win, and that assures us a top 4 finish. That win against West Ham we had the other week. And we even went to the Etihad and beat Man City 2-0. And Man City are the best team in England. Man City, they're in the Champions League quarterfinals, they're in the EFL Cup final, they're in the FA Cup semi-final, and obviously they're going to win the Premier League. And yeah, the first time we'd lost away from home in a while. We are still unbeaten in our last 22 Premier League away games. We had some players missing today. Obviously, there was no Marcus Rashford playing. He's got an injury. Came off injured against AC Milan. Obviously, Matta's still out, but he doesn't get in our 11. Phil Jones, he's out with injury, and Eric Bailly has got a knock. But they're the only injuries now, because obviously Cavani's back now because he came on. Martial's now back because he was recently out with a hip injury. Paul Pogba's back, and Donny van der Beek is back. So there's no excuse today whatsoever. I think Solskjaer's totally blameless. I think he got it right. Maybe, yeah, you could say he should have started Luke Shaw and Bruno Fernandes. But I've already told you, one of my biggest concerns about Solskjaer is his decision making. Just wait a second. Because in a lot of his games at Man United, he has been tactically naive, especially in a lot of the big games. But it is disappointing. I wanted Man United to go all the way in the FA Cup. We are the second most successful team in FA Cup history. We have won 12 FA Cups, but the last time we won the FA Cup was back under Louis van Gaal era, back in 2016. So our only chance of a trophy this season is now the Europa League. We are into the quarterfinals of that. We do play Granada, and Man United should be winning that because Granada are a pretty poor team. Solskjaer needs to win a trophy at Manchester United this year to make sure he's safe in the job. If we win a trophy, that will mark progress. So I'm saying the exact same thing as what Gary Neville said recently. Solskjaer's not yet won a trophy as Man United manager, and we haven't won a trophy since 2017. That's nowhere near good enough to our standards. I think Solskjaer will get next season, but like I've already mentioned, he's not the long-term manager for Manchester United. I can assure that, but we actually have been planning a long-term future under Ole. You know, if we was to finish second this season in the league, there's a good chance we will finish second. And if we was to win the Europa League, I'd turn around and say, yeah, that represents a good season for Man United, and that gives us something to build on going on into next season. But if we was to eventually sack Solskjaer, who would come in? Don't forget, at one point, Mauricio Pochettino was the favourite. I think a lot of United fans would actually like to see Julian Nagelsmann come in. You know, we need someone to come in with a proven pedigree. You know, Solskjaer hasn't got a proven pedigree. But reflecting now on his being at the club, he has gained some managerial experience and he's learnt quite a bit on the job. And despite the defeat today, I still got to say, yeah, he's the best manager since Ferguson. Solskjaer will still get the new contract probably. Not so long ago it said that Solskjaer's agreed to sign a new contract worth £9 million a year, so he's being given a pay rise. Sources at Old Trafford have already said that talks are set to begin any day on the new deal, because later on this month Ole enters the final year of his 3-year contract and probably does deserve a new contract reflecting on the progress is made. Earlier on this season, it said Ole's future was in doubt because he admitted that nobody had spoke to him over a new contract. This is his second full season at the club. He's been Man United manager over 2 years. But, you know, when we are inconsistent, yes, some of the blame stems from him, but not all of the blame stems from him. I think the only reason Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still Manchester United manager is because he's a club legend. That's what's basically saved him. You know, disregarding being a club legend, I don't think he'd have been here now because we have endured very, very bad periods under him where you can turn around and say, yeah, he was definitely lucky not to be sacked. But we have got to credit him in quite a few aspects because we've endured good periods under him, let's be honest. Where we've seen consistency, where he's got the best out of the team and he's improved certain players. We're unbeaten in our last 22 Premier League away games. You know, he got us to the FA Cup quarter-finals this season. You know, he's got us to the Europa League quarter-final. Solskjaer needs to reach his first actual final as Man United manager. You know, he got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season, lost 2-0 to City. You know, did well last season though in his first full season. You know, went on the 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions last season. Was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. Got us third place last season and guided us to 3 semi-finals. Also got rid of a lot of players since he got recommended in. You know, he's also made some good signings. You know, he's spent almost £300 million. So far, Solskjaer's endured 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. But you can credit him for that. But in the last 8 years, we've been playing catch-up and we haven't been the same team since Ferguson retired. let's be honest, no one will do what Ferguson did, and no one will last as long as Ferguson did. Ferguson endured a 27-year tenure at the club, won 30-odd trophies, including 13 Premier League titles, so he brought success to the club. But Ferguson didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Man United. But a lot of United fans predicted when Ferguson retired it was all going to go downhill. Mistakes have been made in the last 8 years, and that's why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been. We've had different managers with different philosophies. We've overpaid for players in recent years. Our recruitment's been very poor. We must have brought around 37 players in since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. And, we've only won, 4 trophies since Ferguson retired. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. So there you go. But like I've said, this year's summer transfer window is the biggest in Solskjaer's managerial career. I'm expecting us to make 3 or 4 signings in the summer. And you can identify the weaknesses in the squad. I think we definitely need a striker. We need a defensive midfielder. We need a centre-half. We're looking for the right winner. Do you think we need a right back to provide competition for Wan-Bissaka? Solskjaer's set to have his final say on our transfer incoming deals, but he should be getting the backing he deserves in the summer because we've got John Murtaugh as our director of football. Obviously, we've got Darren Fletcher, who's our technical director, and Woodward did a statement earlier on this season saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, Woodward is backing Solskjaer. But I don't think Ollie's been backed enough so far in the transfer windows he has endured. You know what I mean? But the players I'd like to come to Manchester United in the summer, I'd love Erling Haaland to come in because he dramatically improves us and he would assure us goals because he's very, very clinical in front of goal. He's proven that during his time at Borussia Dortmund. Pedro Neto, I'd probably take him at Manchester United because his performances for Wolves have been outstanding. Narratives have been coming out today saying that Man United are eyeing a 50 million plus move for Pedro Neto, and we're seeing him as an alternative to Jadon Sancho. I'd certainly take Declan Rice at Manchester United because, he breaks up the play well, he gets forward well, and he's well Premier League proven, and he's still young, and he's got a lot of development in him. Recently said Solskjaer agreed with our new recruitment team that Declan Rice would be the perfect signing for the club. I'd take Jules Koundé, he's a very good centre-half. I think he'd go well alongside Maguire in our back line. I'd also take Raphael Varane if we didn't get Jules Koundé. There has been so many centre-halves on our agenda, but apparently now we could abandon our search for the centre-half, reflecting on how well Lindelof has done recently. Solskjaer did warn that it may not be business as usual in the summer due to the pandemic, but he said he's only interested in bringing in players that will be a perfect fit for the club. We've got to sell players as well in the summer because there's some players at Man United that are no longer good enough to represent the club, and obviously we've got quite a few players that are aging up. There's a good chance Cavani will leave in the summer. I don't want him to. I think he deserves next season at Man United because he has made an impact since he's come in, to his credit. Solskjaer was saying prior to the game against Leicester that Man United are in talks with Edinson Cavani over a contract, and Solskjaer said he's hopeful that Cavani will stay. Football Insider recently said that Cavani's reached a verbal agreement to join Boca Juniors at the end of the season. Cavani's current contract expires in June, but Solskjaer said earlier on this season that Cavani was closer to Boca Juniors than staying at Manchester United, and his father came out the other week and said that he's unhappy and he's not comfortable in England. Cavani hasn't been playing a lot recently because he has been out of injury, like I've already mentioned. Martial, we've got to sell him in the summer. He's no longer good enough to represent the club. Martial's not clinical enough in front of goal. He's had his chances this season, but he hasn't converted them. Juan Mata, sell him in the summer, because for one, doesn't get in the team now. He is out of injury at the moment. And number two, he is ageing up. And number three, he has lost that yard of pace. Sell Matic in the summer. He's not good enough, and he's not one of our first choice midfielders, but still gets his chances. Get rid of Jones, because he doesn't get in our team. Would you sell Eric Bay? Eric Bay hasn't been playing recently, and prior to the Leicester game, it said that Bay was furious with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because he doesn't feel respected or wanted by Solskjaer, and apparently Bay is going to reject a new contract. I think we should sell De Gea in the summer, because I think now Dean Henderson has taken over as number one, like Paul Scholes said not so long ago. So we sell De Gea, that'll make Dean Henderson our first choice goalkeeper. He's good as Dean Henderson. He's done really well in the games he's played in this season. And, he's got that experience behind him because he endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. Get rid of Lingard permanently. He's done very, very well since he's gone out on loan with West Ham, and get rid of Diego Dalot permanently. So we sell them players. We'll generate a substantial amount, and it'll help us with our rebuilding process. But our transfer budget has been revealed for the summer. It's £80 million. A lot of Man United fans are shocked in that aspect. Maybe we was expecting more. I know £80 million is nowhere near enough for us to get the players that we want to recommend in. But Solskjaer's planned to sell at least 4 players, and he's hoping to raise 60 million, so that'd take our transfer budget to £140 million. So anyway, what was your thoughts on the game today? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be back on with more videos tomorrow. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.